what they've all turned out.
Way in the middle of the air.
Goes on. let us remember that we are in the holy presence of our God and the holy presence of one another. Saint John Baptiste de La Salle, live our God in our hearts.
Living God, who dwells in the inmost silence of our souls, open us inward to you in love and gratitude, and open us to all of those whom we encounter today. Make us ever aware of your presence and power in us. Each of you have been called to be the light that shines in the darkness. Those of us we honor today may be too young to fully comprehend how you have acted in their lives. You brought them into the loving family and brotherhood. They have heard your words and have been told what you expect of them. You are all that is love in this world. They have experienced your love and brotherhood, and they pledge to do no harm and to allow no harm to anyone or anything that can tear them away from you. So thank you, loving God, for the personal gifts bestowed upon our sons. Thank you for the families who listened to your voice and confided their sons to GJA. Because family are the first people to introduce them to your love. Thank you for the adult members of this family of GJA who put your love into action each and every day. We pray today in thanksgiving for all that you have given to us. May our beloved sons never stray from you and be your force in the world to make a difference. Lord, they are ready. As in all we do in your name, and so we pray. Amen.
Welcome. My name is Steve Littman. I chair the Board of Trustees of George Jackson, and on behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome all of the family, friends, graduates, and a special shout out to our faculty and administration and staff. It's been a bit of a bumpy year for them this year, but we appreciate everything you've done, and we know it and we love it. You're the rock and the soul of the school, and let's hear it for you. And I want everybody to enjoy the day today. It's a special day for all of you. You guys have worked hard, and while it's your last day of what I say officially at GJA, hopefully your heart and soul stays with us, and we look forward to staying in touch with all of you as graduates as you move on in your lives and career. And with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to a GJA grad, David, and David's going to present the Bob Lesson Scholarship Award.
Morning, everyone. It's been 11 years since my own GJA graduation. It's incredible how time flies, so parents, please savor this moment for your boys, as I did not. And looking back on these guys now, I'm incredibly proud of what you guys have accomplished. And you guys should be proud of that, and parents should be extremely proud of what your boys have accomplished here today. It's also been 11 years since the passing of Robert Lesson, or Bob as he was affectionately known to those who had the good fortune of knowing him. I had the pleasure of meeting Bob while I was a student at GJA, where he so generously donated his valuable time to us, teaching us about economics and financial markets. Beyond what I learned from Bob in an academic capacity, he taught us all a lesson that for boys growing up in and around the city was invaluable. Set ambitious goals and be ready to roll up your sleeves to put in the work necessary to realize them. After Mr. Lesson passed in the summer following my graduation from George Jackson, I made a promise to myself to work as hard as I could to make my own career and to put myself in a position to serve as a role model to other boys like me, as Mr. Lesson did for us. The recipient of this year's Lesson Award embodies not only the paragon of a GJA education that I am my brother's keeper, but also the invaluable lessons from Mr. Lesson. As a student at St. Andrew's School in Delaware, Amari stepped off the porch, out of his comfort zone, and learned that being open and vulnerable is critical to good leadership. Through his own self-reflection, the guidance of his peers and teachers, Amari learned that it is not only okay to ask for help, but it is a necessary part of the human experience. Amari applied for and completed St. Andrew's Peer Counseling Program, where he received training from the head counselors to conduct his own sessions with struggling students. Due to his strong concern for mental health, he wanted to improve the culture of the community by being a figure others could seek out for help. Indeed, I cannot think of a character trait more deserving of the Lesson Scholarship than having the courage, ability, and willingness to not only put in the elbow grease to climb the mountain, but also to turn around and to reach up to pull others. With no further ado, I introduce to you the 2022 Lesson Scholar, Amari Bryant.
Good morning, everyone. I'm feeling a bit of deja vu standing up here right now, not only because I'm recalling my own graduation from GJA, but because I too graduated from high school just 10 days ago. After leaving George Jackson, I decided to attend St. Andrew's boarding school in Delaware, as it was said. As you can guess, this decision was a great adjustment for me, leaving my family and Cincy experiencing a preview of college 4 years earlier. While St. Andrews is a great academic institution that prepared me for the rigor I would see in college, academics is actually the least challenging component of my high school experience, as GJA provided the necessary foundation to succeed. I often joke with my mom how I did more homework here than I do now. But more so than the workload, what was really beneficial was the confidence I learned to tackle these challenges. When I was in 7th grade, we had an English quiz sometime during the first week of school. I don't remember what this quiz was about. I recall feeling completely lost as I stared at the blank sheet of paper. I experienced this pretty often at George Jackson, but especially when I first started attending the school, the feeling used to break me. I was so used to placing all my value into grades and my success as a student that I often neglected my own well-being. However, this instance was different. Staring at this quiz, I did not succumb to the pressure of my confusion, but I remained calm and simply tried my best. While it may sound pretty cliche, I think this value is one of the most important aspects of life. Regardless of the amount of time and effort you put into something, there will certainly be moments where you still feel confused and unprepared. What matters the most is your response to the circumstance and the poise to handle a situation that feels overwhelming. It's actually funny how when I approach my school with this type of attitude, I usually perform better regardless of the amount of preparation I had beforehand. I think this lesson will take you very far, not just in school, but throughout your entire lives. Secondly, the other component of my GJA experience that impacted me perhaps more so than academics was the community. Now I know all the students are probably tired of hearing about community at this point, but bear with me. As it was for most of us, the pandemic was a particularly challenging time for me. By the spring of my sophomore year was fully virtual, the school decided to conduct the hybrid option for junior year, where some students were in person and some were online. I decided to go in person when the school year started, and due to COVID protocols, I seldom was able to interact with my peers, and every aspect of our daily lives was heavily regulated. Meals and shower times were reduced to strict schedules, and beyond the classroom, there was no other place to really interact with the teachers or my fellow students. I was at school, but it still felt like I was in quarantine. I just stared at the walls of my dorm room. Eventually, I decided to return home and partake in a virtual option as I wasn't enjoying my time on campus. In this period where I felt the most lonely and confined, I resorted to no other than my GJA family. While away from my friends at school, I reached out to a few members of my graduating class. We organized several small get-togethers where we often played basketball, went out to eat, and sometimes just met up in Tompkins Square Park where we used our recess. The purpose of me discussing this anecdote is to remind you of the importance of maintaining these relationships that we've built through our shared experience. So often in our lives, we feel as if we must face our struggles alone, because seeking help makes us feel vulnerable. But GJA instills not only the confidence to get through whatever task is presented to you, but the vulnerability to seek the help of others along the way. And that's a life skill for which I can't express all my gratitude in just this speech, but I can try. So GJA, thank you so much for the wisdom and courage you've instilled in me, not only for my high school career, but for the rest of my life. And to the graduates, while you might all have different views of your time at George Jackson, I want you to reflect on what core values you've learned here that extend beyond the classroom and will offer you guidance through whatever path you take. I wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors, but I know that none of you need it, because you all possess the skills to prosper in any direction you choose. Thank you all.
First, I would like to... Bro. Alright. First, I would like to acknowledge the audience. Students, faculty, family. Oh, right, my fault. Hey. Students, faculty, family, welcome, and thank you for your time. Good morning. My name is Alfred Nicholas. I am a Filipino boy from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm 5'4" on a good day, which is actually average for Filipinos, alright? I like spring roll and hate Grey's Anatomy. And hot take, I think orange juice is better than apple juice. And I don't know why that is so controversial. Anyway, let's talk about spirals. Over spring break, I read a book titled Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. Asa, the main character, has a mental condition which makes her have a huge fear for germs and causes her to be extremely introverted. Asa goes down thought spirals many times. Quote, "The thing about a spiral is if you follow it inward, it never actually ends. It just keeps tightening infinitely." End quote. I've been down one of these thought spirals before. Let me set the stage for you. It was the beginning of March 10th, and I mean the very beginning of the day. It was a stressful time for most 8th graders, as a lot of high schools had sent out their admission results that day. It was late at night, and I was doing my work and not playing any video games. When I was done, I closed my light, tucked myself in, and before I knew it, I was awake before my mom could kick open the door, tug my sheets, and tell me to wake up for the 1000th time. I opened my phone, rubbed my eyes, and saw an email from a high school. I was rejected. I got another result before leaving my humble abode. I was waitlisted. I got on the train, slept with no regard for my possessions, and thought they might get stolen. Woke up just before my stop, thought to myself, I gotta wait it again. I got up and walked to school. I logged into 2 admission portals. I was waitlisted from both of them. I got home and received the greatest news of my life that I was waitlisted from all the other schools that I applied to. For the past month, I've been thinking about my future so much. I've been wondering where I would go. I'd wondering if I enjoyed it. I wondered if I would fit in. I wondered if I would be happy. I was spiraling. To quote Turtles All the Way Down, true terror isn't being scared. It's not having a choice on the matter. End quote. Luckily, 3 things stopped me from going deeper into the spiral. One was being asked to do this speech. I was reminded that I was still a George Jackson Academy scholar and that I still had time here and I still had work to do. I still had to climb my way through the mountain known as Mr. Tyson's history curriculum. I had to stumble my way through math equations with Mr. Barnes, with at least one student who made the grave mistake of borrowing a pencil and as a result had to put one of their shoes in front of the classroom on display. I still had to struggle translating Latin passages with the Magister, or most recently, known as the greatest basketball player. I still had to imitate at least one of Mr. Morolo's favorite phrases. I'll leave it at that. Could you stop? Or, oh, help us. I still had to do Mr. Tansel's tech work and not play games on the computer. I still had to create masterpieces with Miss Klima and have very academic discussions and not gossip. I still had to sing off key with Mr. Leon. I still had to fight my way through the big bad monster known as music theory with Mr. Osborne. And most devastating of all, I still had to work out in physical education. As John Green puts it, you're both the fire and the water that extinguishes it. You're the narrator, the protagonist, and the sidekick. You are the storyteller and the story being told. You are somebody's something, but you are also your you, end quote. I was so trapped in my own head that I forgot a part of myself, me being a student. The second thing that pulled me out of that spiral and reminded me that I was still a George Jackson Academy scholar was remembering what we, class of 2022, had gone through together. We experienced playing dodgeball, kick-out, gaga ball without receiving any concussions, which surprises me. We experienced me falling into the trash can on the second floor in 6th grade. We experienced poking each other with long, rigid steel swords. We experienced candy and games. We experienced the shock that came with the first wave of COVID in New York. We experienced the monstrosity known as online learning, in which we were all on task 100% of the time. We experienced broken tables. We experienced the stress of 8th grade. All of these experiences come tagged along with the brotherhood core value that is plastered on the GJA logo. Why would I be so worried about my distant future if I had a collection of memories and experiences and a second family with me, even if I only had a limited amount of time with them? The last thing that brought me out of that spiral was one of the educational greats of our age. We had a conversation when he noticed that I was terribly worried about high school. I won't disclose the specific words he's used, but I'll tell you what I took away from that fateful talk. I am supposed to put feelings and energy into the things that matter right now. As it is written in Turtles All the Way Down, there is hope, even if your brain tells you there isn't. End quote. Fellas, class of 2022, my eights, people that I have grown up with for as long as 5 years, and one of you since kindergarten. Put your feelings towards gratefulness, because that is what matters right now. Feel grateful for what GJA has given you and how unique it is. Lastly, put energy into yourself. We are all so young and have the world ahead of us, but we need to promise ourselves one thing so we can secure that for ourselves. The educational great that brought me out of that spiral with his wise and compassionate words was Mr. Jacobs. He made me promise something that I'm going to make you all promise. Take care of yourself. Thank you.
I don't need that. Do I look as tall as I feel up here? Do I look as handsome as I feel up here? Sorry, I wrote this on paper, but Carissa read my speech, so I rewrote it so no one knew what I was going to say. You could clap again. Good day, adventurers. I'm Mr. Tomonoshi. I've traveled over 1,000 miles from a far, far away place where the elephants dance and the monkeys play the saxophone while I paint. I miss those monkeys. But I'm absolutely delighted to be here with you today. The George Jackson Academy graduating class of 2022. That sounds good, really good. When people graduate, they invite smart people to the graduation. You are those smart people. After sitting and talking with these students, I know I'm not the smartest in this room, and that brings me comfort. It's comforting to know that our future is in such incredible and capable hands. Those hands of yours, those superpower hands of yours, those superhero hands of yours are capable of both building and destroying. It is important that you understand what your hands are capable of, for your hands are the greatest tools to ever be created. Use them for good, but never forget that they can be used for bad. What will you do with such powerful tools? Look around. No one's looking around. Look around. The world is magnificent, full of wonderful things, magical places, and colorful people. The world is actually full of nouns. And that magnificent world is waiting for you to explore it, adore it, grow it, and change it, for you to make it better than it is today. You are the landscapers of our tomorrows. As you embark on the next level of this great adventure, your adventure, our adventure, I wrote a list of reminders that I believe all my fellow adventurers
should be reminded of. It's short but long, it's long but short. It's about as long as a giraffe and a half, and about as short as half of a giraffe. It reads, so you want to be an adventurer. Great, here's everything you need to know. You ready? Y'all want to know this? Should I drop these gems, these dimes? Be everything, be anything, be any and everything. Be who you want, be who you are, be what you want, be what you are, when you want, where you go, where you are. Go straight, go above, go beyond, go this way, go this way, and that away. Go once, go twice, get lost, change directions, go anywhere, go everywhere, go any and everywhere. Stay, stop, start, run, jog, walk, roll, skip, dance, duel, pause, catch your breath, drink water, drink lots of water. I could actually use some water right now. Drink water, drink lots of water, start again, stop again, keep going, go forward, go sideways, go backwards, go upside down, go right side up, waddle, slide, whisper, yell, high five, go. Never stop playing. Play anywhere, play everywhere, play any and everywhere. Play alone, play with anyone, play with everyone, play with any and everyone. Play everything, play anything, play any and everything. Take a notebook, write it down. Write down what you see, what you saw, what you felt, how you feel, what you would change and how you would change it, what you learned, what you wish you knew, then go learn it, what you want, then go earn it. Wherever your dreams may take you, whenever they may take you, follow that path. The dream is the journey, not the destination. My fellow adventurers, I hope that we cross paths again somewhere out in this magnificent world, and that when we do, it will be a little bit better because of us, because of our hands, our superhero hands. I hope that you forever grow and enjoy the search for what you do not know. If you can't decide which path to take them both. Adventure awaits. Thank you.
Shaib Abubakar. Ephraim Azari Smith. Kalijah Calicut Davis. Shay Corona. Max Cruz Jr. Jared Diaz. Joseph Farhad. Justin Fernandez. Lucas Flores. Logan Garcia. Zion Grant. Stone. Jawad Hussein. Sule Kebe. Jaden Lau. Lemuel Lewis. S. Solomon Lloyd. Amir McHouston. Kaylin Mead. Alexander Mentor. David Meza. Malam Naushram. Alfred Nicholas. Iwamazino Owero. Jaime Pacheco. Joshua Panton. Jai Pavlish Hernandez. Remy Strange. Alex Troppin. Ted Wangchuk. Yoji Azu. Eighth graders, please stand. You are now graduates. Now you can sit and we'll have the reading of a poem selected by Jawad Hussein.
Hello, graduating class of 2022, family, and faculty. My name is Jawad Hussein, and I've been at GJA since 5th grade. I'm really grateful to have been chosen to read a poem at our graduation. Poem in question is Life Doesn't Frighten Me at All by Maya Angelou. The poem is about not letting what life throws at you make you afraid. I think this is a really important message for the class of 2022 because we're about to enter a really important and new stage of our lives, which may bring lots of emotions, including fear. And to commence the poem. Shadows on the wall, noises down the hall. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Bad dogs barking loud, big ghosts in a cloud. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Mean old mother goose, lions on the loose. They don't frighten me at all. Dragons breathing flame on my counterpane. That doesn't frighten me at all. I go boo, make them shoo. I make fun, way they run. I won't cry, so they fly. I just smile, they go wild. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Tough guys fight, all alone at night. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Panthers in the park, strangers in the dark. No, they don't frighten me at all. That new classroom where boys all pull my hair, kissy little girls with their hair in curls, they don't frighten me at all. Don't show me frogs and snakes and listen for my scream. If I'm afraid at all, it's only in my dreams. I've got a magic charm that I keep up my sleeve. I can walk the ocean floor and never have to breathe. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Not at all, not at all. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Thank you.
Hi, good.
Hi, how's everybody doing? So, just to, yeah, thank you. More of them. Just to clarify, so this year we've decided to sing a GJA song based on the tune of America from West Side Story. As we go on, as the tune becomes more familiar to you, please feel free at some point or another to join us in the chorus. If you don't feel so secure in your lyrics, it's okay to do it on loud. Okay? So this is our final graduation performance. Give it up for the GJA graduation choir.
Everything's Hello, my name is Sule Keba. I am 13 years old and I just graduated from DJ. Right now, I'm about to read a poem called Thinking by Walter D. Wintle. This poem is about... Okay, let me begin. When you think you're beaten, you are. When you think you dare not, you don't. When you'd like to win but think you can't, it is a sure thing that you won't. When you think that you'll lose, you've lost, for out in the world you will find success begins with a man's will. It's all in the state of mind. When you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think big to rise. You have to feel sure of yourself before you can win a great prize. Life's battle does not always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late, the man who wins is the one who thinks he can. Thank you.
Every school and organization has a history. It's a story about how they begin and how that the things that are have come to be. The history is usually told in stories. And those stories include events, experiences, people, dates, and places thrown in more detail. And the healthy organization tells the story so often that it becomes common knowledge. Through those stories, you have gotten to know George. So it becomes our story, and we find ourselves being a living part of the evolving story. Only we can tell our particular part in the narrative. Who and what we did is remembered by those who come after us. So the long story is incomplete without us. Actually, it's without you. You may recall the online community meeting presentation by Mr. Brosnan, who was a close friend of George at Monsignor Kelly. And he and I shared our stories about George with you and what life was like for us growing up 50 years ago. Hopefully it helped you to understand George and really why our school is named after him. Now, in olden days, the role of the storyteller was a sacred and honored position in the village or family. Their lot in life was to learn and to remember. Now, they told the family story or the organization story often. And the telling of that story allowed us to develop rituals that give us the opportunity to constantly come back and remember. Those of us who have participated in church services, or at synagogue, or mosque, or temple, know that really, they are storytelling time. At GJA and all schools in the Lassadian tradition before each class, we remember that we are in the holy presence of God and in the holy presence of each other. This ritual allows us to focus on the demands and the power of living in a community of brothers. Now, that simple prayer is what binds all of us to the graduates whose pictures that line the first floor walls near the band room. They are your older brothers in truth, and they built GJA just as you are building the experience for those who will soon come after you. I share this because you are you're in a crucial time in our community's life. And we will be talking about you for many, many years to come. Because no other class has been called upon to be the bearers and the caretakers of our sacred history, our culture of brotherhood, in a unique way that you have. Now, every class coming through has had its challenges, its failings and its victories. They have had their leaders and their followers. They had their doubters and their true believers. But each had a unique experience in creating our story, but none more than you. As in the life of every individual or organization, there comes the unexpected, the events or people that change the course of our history. Things just will not be the same. And that happened to us in March of 2020. COVID drove us apart. Our community experienced a diaspora, a breaking up, a spreading out, and a forced march into isolation. As little sixth graders, you were just beginning to experience the joys of community. Your eighth grade brothers were spending time with you and were hopefully setting a good example of how a GJ man is supposed to live, trying to put the needs of others before one's own. You pledged to do no harm to anyone in the community and also to allow no harm to come to any members of our community. As is our tradition, you became your brother's keeper. But unfortunately, your training into these Lassadian things was all too brief. So, as I said, by mid-March, we were locked in our homes in fear of this new and deadly virus. Our cell phones and our computers were only linked to one another. We all struggled to maintain things academic. Class discussions, presentations, homework even, receiving grades took place in one form or another, but it just was not the same. Having online classes in dress code helped with a sense of normalcy, which was interesting, basically to say the least. Privacy at home, as you know, was really hard to come by. Sharing became awkward. You had a lot of time on your hands, and for some, It was introduction to things inappropriate. The isolation was allowing harm to come to some of us. For many, it was an introduction into depression. You know, those feelings where things seem just less hopeful and less joyful. We really desperately needed to be back in each other's presence. When we got back together in September, your job as the keepers of the history was to quickly reconnect with the class and faculty, and then to train the new sixth graders in who a GJA man is and how we live community. It hasn't been easy. The newbies had a lot to learn about us and about our history. Now remember, they hadn't been in school themselves for almost 18 months. Now you will be remembered for your courage to take on the task of being the preservers of our culture. We are not just like any school. We are GJA men, blessed with gifts and talents and obliged to do our best with them. Because GJA is not about me. GJA is about us. I hope that you have made it a habit in your own life to say our little prayer each day and to remind you that you are in God's holy presence and in the holy presence of others. The key is to remember that God dwells within you. In your new school, create a loving community of friends. Because God works in this world through you, so therefore be the light and be the love. That is what each of us is called to do. So be not afraid, because you are not alone. You will always have GJA here for your support. Okay, we are your family, and we are a source of love. Thank you.